qué peligro, qué peligro. Gol de Chile. Dice que Chile.
That's Diego Maradona, the best player in football history, celebrating an agonic qualification to the 2010 World Cup as a manager. See, Argentina was going through an extremely tough moment and their World Cup participation in 2010 was in doubt. The results weren't helping at all, and in the middle of the storm, Diego presented himself as a possibility for the job. It was all a desperate move. The football superstar was appointed to the job without much experience, but with an apparent knowledge on how to save a national team from a crisis. His first match was a tight win, and the second one was a historical loss in Bolivia by 6 goals. News outlets would not stop questioning his continuity. In October, Argentina's last 2 shots were about to be triggered against Peru and Uruguay.
Con perdón de los demás.
El centro de Di María,
The 2 games were agonizingly won, and Argentina were in the World Cup, but because of what you just witnessed, Diego won himself a 2-month ban that for many was the reason they got kicked out from the World Cup so early. His contract was not renewed, ending his story with the national team. Diego Armando is only one name in the long list of football players who did not convince as football managers. Being these figures such good at the sport, why do they seem not to be working at managing an entire team?
12 games without a win and they're struggling after the full-time whistle sounded at Craig.
You know and I know I'm in a very difficult position right now.
Aston Villa have sacked Steven Gerrard. The same can happen.
But obviously, it's a results-based business.
This is Jurgen Klopp. Not as we usually get to see him, right? Well, guess what? He used to be a player and not a particularly great one. What about him? This is Pep Guardiola, Champions League champion. He also played football, just listen to him.
No sé, era centrocampista, lentote, no tenía tiro, no tenía dribbling, juego aéreo pobre, no era rápido.
See, these guys over here were lucky and consistent enough to make it to the first division, but they were not talented at all, or at least like the other players. This means that they had to sit down and learn the strategies in order to compete for a place in the squad. At the same time, the managers emphasize on these kind of players because they really need instructions to follow. All these theories sets the groundwork for players to study more and more. Ironically, very high-profile stars tend to have jobs that require more experience than the one they have, just because they were good players. See Mikel Arteta. The man retired from football and went on to learn not only how to become a manager but through a masterclass with his compatriot Pep Guardiola from 2016 to 2019. From another perspective, this phenomenon could be understood through expectations. Really good players are people that are naturally related to winning and being successful, meaning that whatever they fail at is seen as really bad for them. The problem is that we automatically think that if a player is good at covering a particular position, they will be able to do it for the entire team. And this is false, because they are different odds. This thought is as silly as thinking that a great student makes a perfect professor. Not only because of the human factor, but also because these magic sportsmen often don't understand others' limitations, because sometimes they think they are normal, and everybody has the capacity to read the game the way they do. Remember Michael Jordan? When he left basketball because he promised his father he would be a baseball player, and yes, he did, kind of, but then realized he wasn't good enough and had to get back to doing slam dunks. Where I want to arrive with all this is that most extremely talented people at one particular task will hardly become nearly as good as they were in another one. Counterproductive lead generation, giant expectations around themselves. Expectations distort reality to a point. A good manager might be seen as bad because he used to be a good player. The thing is that even the premise of this video does some filter work at just dividing managers in good and average former football players, when in reality these two jobs have very little in common and are often related just because they are part of the same sport. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing.